So, as believers, how do we deal with difficult things? Like, for example, when healing doesn't come. I have a really good friend who struggles with Ehlers-Danlos, a very rare condition, which is extremely painful. Has to do with joints being overly flexible, things dislocating, and just a lot of other crazy things. And her and I were talking about this the other day. How do we as Christians reconcile our belief that God can heal, but when that doesn't seem to happen in our timing or doesn't happen at all? We see examples in the Bible of times where God doesn't necessarily heal, like with Paul. He says that he has a thorn in his flesh, which we don't exactly know what that means, if it's physical or something else. He asks God 3 times and God chooses not to heal him. God has a purpose, we do know that. One of the stories in the Bible that has given me a lot of hope when healing doesn't come is found in John 9. Now, Jesus is talking with his disciples, and they're talking about a man who was born blind. And there was a lot of people who thought that if somebody had something like this, a physical ailment, that it was caused by their own sin. So here's this man not only dealing with blindness, but also a lot of people thinking that he had caused it himself with a sin. And let's see what Jesus says. So, John 9, it says, as Jesus went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus, "but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him." I love his answer. It happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. Well, Jesus does heal this man, and so we can see pretty easily how God's works are displayed in him. But what about me? What about you? What about people who don't see healing come? Well, I've had a lot of very well-meaning Christians imply that my faith was not strong enough, or maybe I did sin. As somebody whose faith is very important to them, it's very hurtful to have somebody just suggest that not only are you hurting, but you're causing it. Not only are you causing it, but your faith isn't strong. And I don't believe that to be true at all. I like how Jesus says that the works of God might be displayed in him. So how are God's works being displayed in my life? I see it in a lot of ways. So first of all, my struggles I deal with is severe migraines and incredibly severe vertigo. I got married about 8 years ago, and a week after we got married, I had a migraine that lasted for 2.5 months straight, which put me into such severe vertigo that I had to crawl to the bathroom. I couldn't walk on my own, and this was years and years of intense therapy from specialists, and I still struggle with it every day. Some days I can do okay, some days I still can't walk. The other day I was trying to take my dog for a walk, and we went down 3 houses before I had to turn around and come back. I'm just now to where I can, not every week, but some weeks, drive 20 minutes to the grocery store and shop, drive 20 minutes home, and that's about it for the day. And so there's a lot of ups and downs for me. So how is God's works being displayed in my life? Well, one thing I've realized is that our physical healing is not the most important thing. And I think in our culture, we have this idea that we should all be healed. We should never struggle with things. And I have seen a lot of spiritual healing done in me that I don't think could have happened without some of the struggles I've dealt with. And I think before this time, I just had a lot of growth that needed to happen. I've really simplified my life. We've pared down, my husband and I, what's important, what's necessary to get done. Days of just getting food on the table sometimes is all there is. And it's been very difficult. It's been very painful, and it's not been a fun time for either of us, but we both say we wouldn't trade it just because of how God has worked, how God has drawn us close to Him, how God has provided, how He's held us. And so I've really learned that I don't ask the why. I've stopped asking, why is this happening? And I've started looking to the who. So my pastor always says eyes on Jesus. And so looking to Jesus and really looking to Him for what I need daily. And even feeling the fragileness of not even being able to sleep without God. I mean, what's the easiest thing you can do as a human? Like sleep, probably. It doesn't require a whole lot. Can't even do that without God. And there's another verse that I really like that is Isaiah 55, 8-9, and the Lord is speaking. He says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." And it's a good reminder to me that God is not like us. We don't want Him to be like us because we're these mere humans. And He is so much bigger. He's so much higher. He has so much more perspective than what we have. And we know that He's good. He loves us, and we know we can trust Him. My favorite quote is, "If God were small enough to be fully understood, He wouldn't be big enough to be worshipped." And so just really realizing that I have to trust Him. I have to trust that He has plans, and the spiritual healing is so much greater, worth so much more than the physical could have been. And your joke is, why did the golfer wear 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one.